Hello guys, thank you once again for tuning into my channel. My name is Anthony and I'm delighted to host you today to my channel. I do take this opportunity to welcome those who are tuning in for the very first time and those who are returning subscribers. I share the same acknowledgement and I welcome you also to this channel. As we began in the last two episodes, we're doing a mini series titled Leadership Talks. Okay, and Leadership Talks is just a one-on-one conversation, which is an honest talk about what to expect as young leaders, what we can do better in our quest for leadership, and the things that we can use to equip ourselves as we take on this journey of leadership. Okay, I do hope that all of you who have tuned in will find this video sufficiently informative and that you'll benefit from it at the end of the day. Today I want to talk about a very interesting topic. I call it the millennial trap. Okay, it's a very interesting topic. You'll understand why I've titled it that way. So I am a millennial, and I'm speaking on this topic, or today's topic, drawing from the experiences I've had as a young millennial living in Kenya, and also the experiences of those that I have seen, those that I have encountered, and those that I know. Our topic is called the millennial trap. The reason why I chose that title is because most of the millennials in Kenya feel like they are trapped, and I know this from experience. I have seen it. I was there, and sadly that's the state of affairs. Why do I say they feel they're trapped, or we feel we were trapped, or we feel we're trapped? Yeah. This video, the context is specifically, it will apply to Kenya. So I don't know, for those who are watching it outside Kenya, I don't know if that applies to you, but I will use the context of Kenya. When we were growing up, school was the pivot of everything. You were told you need to go to school, you need to perform well, and after performing well, you need to go to campus. Then you take a good course, and when you perform well, you go into the job market. Then the job, you'll get a good job, okay, white collar job, and after getting that job, everything will come. You'll get a wife, you'll get kids, you'll have a house, you'll have a loan, get some businesses, what we usually call the American dream. That was what was sold to many millennials. So what happened is, we focused on doing many courses just to go through the system, go to school, go to campus, which is not a bad thing. Education is very important. But most of us, when we went to campus, we did things that we were not passionate about. So we just did courses to finish and get a job. Because the dream that was sold to many millennials was that white collar jobs are the it thing, the go-to thing. You need to have this, and for you to have this, you need to go to campus. So it was kind of systematically sold to us that performance, good grades, good job, and everything will work out. So we chased this dream, and we finished. Along that path, we started to realize that the people who were selling us this dream did not have the relevant plans to utilize each and every person that was a recipient of this vision or dream. So we had lots of people finishing school, lots of people graduating, but with no accompanying jobs in the market. So basically we outgrew the jobs that were available, and the many of us who were there were now fighting for the scarce amount of jobs. Some of us, by the mercies of God and by the grace of God, were lucky to find opportunities in the corporate setting, and I thank God that one thing that I came to understand earlier is, or I'm never excited with events. I focus on the process, such that I do not look at the wedding, I look at marriage. I do not look at the graduation day, I look at the course. So for me, when people are graduating, my mind was already ringing. So 10,000 of us or 60,000 of us have graduated from this university, then 30,000 in the next one. And so how many of us are being poured into the job market? Let's say 100,000 at a go. How many jobs are there? So already by probability, you start seeing that you're going to struggle. So you need to increase your chances of getting a job. So that means you need to be intentional. You need to do research. You need to understand, how do firms hire? What do the HR offices look at? How do I need to craft my CV? How do I need to present this? Where do I need to send it? And knowing this, you also give yourself a timeline. How many resumes do I have to send per day, and where am I sending them? So it kind of makes you become scientific about the application. You just don't send 3 applications and chill and say that now I'm just waiting for a job, and most of us didn't have the mind to know what is on the ground vis-a-vis the expectation that was sold to us. So most of us got disappointed because we did not get the jobs that we were told we would get. And those of us who got the jobs, because there were so many of us in the market, we were being paid peanuts. So you get a job that does not advance you the way you thought it would advance you. And therefore, you are disappointed because you're being paid half of what you thought you would have been paid. But when you look at those that are not in the job market, you start comparing yourself to them, then you see yourself as better. So that gives you a relief. But not knowing that in comparison to what you had anticipated, you are not where you wanted to be. So 2 people, there are those that did not get the opportunities, and then there are those that got the opportunities, but what they received and what was sold to them are 2 different things. So we have people who are resentful because they are doing a job just because they need to survive, and there are those who are resentful that they didn't even get to do that job. So imagine that is the scenario, and as each year comes, more of you are being poured into the job market, meaning there are more options for the employers, meaning it is easier to play with your wages and make it cheaper. It is easier to put people on contractual obligations as compared to P&P, permanent and pensionable. So, millennials started understanding that life is not what was sold to us, because on top of this, you come from family backgrounds that were not wealthy, so your parent had to sacrifice for you to go through the education system, get that university degree so that you can succeed and give back to them. So you have an obligation to take care of those that supported you on a salary that is not even probably half of what you expected to get. So you understand. So first of all, you are caught up in a loop such that you start living to pay bills and support your family. And because life has reduced you to comparing yourself to those who are jobless, you now think that you're doing well. But who are you comparing yourself to? The ones who are jobless. So your expectations of life have been reduced to comparing yourself to those who don't have a job, as opposed to comparing yourself to similar graduates who are in different countries doing the same job that you're doing. Because that's a right scale to know if you are in the right place. Okay? So society, the work environment, the expectation that was sold vis-a-vis the reality that we experienced demoralized most millennials. And most millennials are firstborns, probably in their homes. So you are expected to shoulder the burden of the people who are behind you. So there is this resentment that you are doing something that you don't like. This job is not giving you satisfaction, but you need to do it because that's the only way you know how to make money. You were not taught any other skill. You did not venture to learn any other skill because you were lied to that the university degree that you have is enough to sustain your life, okay, until retirement. And then you come out to the world and you realize that was a fallacy. So you have not gained skills other than what you did in school. And what you did in school is not even the job you're doing. It does not even have, many people are not doing what they studied. They are doing something totally different. So it's even a mismatch because you're wondering, why did I go to school? So there's that whole resentment that I'm doing something that I don't like. I'm in a job where I don't feel fulfilled, but I cannot quit it because I don't have any other skills. And this job has made me a slave, so I don't even have the time to go and learn new skills. And most of us chose to settle. Instead of seeking what could advance you according to what is relevant now, we chose to settle with the bare minimum. And then you end up, you find someone with the same frustration, you have kids. So both of you are in jobs you don't want, with salaries that are not enough, with burdens back at home. Because of age, you have families, and now the resources are strained more and more. You take loans, so you become even more indebted to your employer. So when you look at your life as a millennial, it's like you are wrapped up in chains. And you try to free yourself and you can't, because you have a loan here, you have bills here, you have your family looking at you, you have school fees. So left, right, and center, it's like you are trapped, you know? And millennials were supposed to be the torch bearers for the Gen Zs. You see that the Gen Zs have come, they have grown up, they have seen their older brothers and sisters, the millennials, they have seen the illusion and the lie that was sold to them, and they have seen what their lives have become. And they have chosen not to follow that same path because they have understood that wealth is not necessarily a job. Wealth is peace of mind. So they have opted not to chase things in futility, and contrary to their elder brothers and sisters, they have chosen to pursue purpose. And that is why you find that even in our country, Kenya, the ones agitating for change are the Gen Zs. Why? Because they understand good governance. When the systems are run well, then the ability to thrive for each and every person is heightened. I don't need to go to get a university degree, even though it is important. I can start my own thing with my own skill, and it will advantage me because every human being was given a certain set of skills, abilities, or talents that exemplify you from everyone else. And the moment you understand what they are and you make use of them, they elevate you, they separate you, and they put you on a pedestal that you are alone and no one else can come and do what you do. So if everyone understood what purpose is, if everyone understood why we were created, we would not be following each other like sheep, doing what everyone else is doing, such that if the first person was wrong, or if the first person fell into a hole, all of us follow him into that hole. That was the trap that the millennials found themselves in. They were sold a vision that was a lie, and it trapped the first ones, and everyone else came into that hole and it trapped them. So they are unable to come out of that hole because of the issues of life. You have a family, you have probably kids, you have people who are looking up to you, you have bills to pay. So how again do you leave what you have known as comfort to chase what is probably something that you don't know the probability of it being successful, which is your dream? So many are choosing to go for the safer route. Let me just compromise and be safe with this. At least, you see, that's the word we are using. At least I have something to pay my bills. So we are caught up in a loop of bills. So you work to pay bills. Basically, you're a slave. You're a modern day slave. You're working to pay bills. At the end of the month, after you've paid all your bills, buy a few things, maybe just go out once, then the money is finished, then another cycle. And then you do that month on month until it becomes a year. And then this is 2 years, and then accumulatively 10 years, and then 20 years, and then 30 years, and you realize that your life has been a consequence of piled up discontent because you are resentful of what was supposed to be but did not become, and you chose to settle. And because you chose to settle, you have piled up resentment for all this time. And it is very saddening, because I see my peers, I see people that I was with, and I cannot blame them. Not everyone had probably the same set of factors that I had. Luckily for me, God made sure that I had no one that I was probably taking care of. So I had the freedom to make certain decisions that not many people would have. Not saying that I come from a rich family, no, just an average family, but I am also cognizant of the fact that there are certain privileges that I had that not many people had. and that's just true. Some of those millennials who were sold these promises end up, due to frustration, you end up into alcoholism and all these things. Okay? Because of disappointment, because of life not meeting your expectations, you become disgruntled. The reason why I'm doing this video today is because we have the younger generation, the Gen Zs, who are very passionate about purpose, who are very passionate of living an intentional life. They do not want to live on survival mode like we did in our generation. And the sad thing is, there are not enough role models in society to pattern what the path of purposeful living looks like, to pattern to them who a good leader is. So they have the desire, they have the passion, they have the heart to live a life of integrity, but they have an abstract passion without a model that is presented to them for them to emulate. The people who would have lived lives that would present this image of who a model leader is, a model family man is, a model family woman is, a model family are the millennials. But the millennials, most of them are living in survival mode. And it is very hard to find those that are willing to go back or to deviate and start living life in pursuit of purpose. Let me take my example. The life I was living before 3 years back was a very different life. It was purposeless life. I was in the loop, just working, paying bills, doing your stuff. You don't have money, another month, repeat the cycle. That was the life I was living. I knew that from the way I was born, I was wired to fulfill purpose. I always felt not fulfilled in the places or in the jobs that I did. I've gone to work in places, and the way my mind works, my mind is very analytical. I can be in an environment, I can study that place, I can study the organization, I can see where the loopholes are, I can see what needs to improve, I can see the willingness of the management to improve that place. And when I notice that these people are incompetent or they are not willing to do things correctly, I lose interest. So I've been in places where the level of professionalism was way below par. I've been in places where the welfare of the staff was way below par. I've been in places where the kind of hiring process is on tribal basis, is on nepotism basis, and you're running an organization which is considered a professional organization in this country. So I really got bored very fast because I understood from an early point, from the signs that were coming forth, is like I was not meant to be part of this system. I cannot fit into a system unless it is run correctly. It is run with the values and principles that cut across every employee. There's these things that people are used to, the bad manners and bad habits, So it was not a surprise when God decided to just align me to purpose. He had to show me clearly the life I've been living, how empty it was, how purposeless it was, and how unfulfilling it was. And he asked me, are you comfortable continuing to live this way until you die, until you're 40, until you're 50? Is this what you want to do? And in my heart, it was very clear. I did not have the capacity to do routine. I am not a routine person. I don't like routine. I like purpose. So routine bores me because it does not use anything of you. There's no skill you're using. You've just memorized a program and you're reproducing a thing over and over again. That is not the best use of the mind that God gave you. And so when it reached time to quit my job, I decided to quit in pursuit of purpose. Does it mean that everyone else has that luxury to quit? No. As I mentioned earlier, most people have responsibilities that I did not have. So I cannot blame those who have not chosen to. But my video today is specifically towards those that are feeling they are unfulfilled in what they're doing. And you don't need to be told, from your heart that the life you're living is purposeless life. It is boring, it is unfulfilling, you feel disgusted. Every time you want to go to work, you feel like throwing up. That's how much you hate your life right now. What would it cost you to take a leap of faith and believe God to direct you to a life led by purpose? Do you know how great it is to do something that comes naturally from you? You're not struggling, no one is forcing you. It gives you fulfillment. You feel fulfilled. I can't explain it more than this. You have more impact in society. You become a role model to those that are behind you. You become relevant to the generation behind you. Because I know that most millennials, most of my friends, or most of the people that I used to interact with are very intelligent, very knowledgeable people, because I was very selective with the people that I hanged out with. We shared very many interest topics of discussions and all this, and I would pick their brains, and I know that the people that I used to relate with are very passionate, knowledgeable, on many things. My encouragement today to millennials who are out there, it's never too late to start living your life in pursuit of purpose. Okay? Abraham fulfilled his purpose at an old age. There is no point that it's too late to follow your purpose. You'd rather do something that gives you peace, contentment, and satisfaction than staying in a place that disgruntles you, makes you resentful, and makes you angry and bitter. Because this is what will happen. If you stay somewhere where you are struggling, you're surviving, you're doing something just to survive, you are going against your spirit. You're going against the purpose that God has given you. You're going against the burden that God wants you to fulfill for humanity. And that thing is going to irritate you. You're going to have an inner conflict between what you're doing and what God wants you to do. And you're going to become bitter when you see other people out there who chose to pursue purpose, becoming successful and happy doing the thing that God created them to do. Have you not seen people in society that are just bitter and envious about other people who are making it. Why? Because they are not in purpose. So you not being in purpose turns you into a resentful, bitter person, because you're doing something that you don't like, but you are irritated when you see someone else doing what they like. So my video today is an encouragement to any millennial who feels that they were duped, they were trapped, they were sold a lie and a vision that was not the truth. It's never too late to start pursuing your purpose. It's never too late. I'd rather you start now to do the things that give you peace. It will make your life worth living. Don't just live to pay bills. It's not worth it. And if you trust God, okay, I personally believe that God is able to take all the years that you've lost doing what you're not supposed to do and give you all that was due to you even within 1 year. I have taken a leap of faith. Okay, I left a good paying job because it was not fulfilling me, and I could see my resentment building up. I could see where my life would end up. It would turn me into a bitter person, and so I chose to not follow that path. I decided to let God direct my life, show me why He created me, reveal to me what He put inside me for me to share with the world. And I haven't gotten to the fullness of it yet, but He has been revealing it to me bit by bit. He has been showing me the ability that I have. I never used to record these things. Anyone who knows me, I hated anything that involved public limelight and all these things. I was a very reserved person who loved my own private life, doing my own things. I didn't want people who disturbed me with their... I just liked my private, simple life. It was fulfilling for me. But look where I am today. I'm here recording videos. I don't even know why I am recording them. But it has become natural to me. But how has it become natural? Because I've given myself to God to reveal to me what He created me to do. And the more I allow Him to show me, the more I discover new things about myself that I never would have. So it's all about taking a leap of faith. I still believe that God has a lot in store for me, and you're going to see it with time. Don't worry. I believe that He has a lot in store for me, and I know that my trust in Him will not go in vain. The leap of faith that I took to pursue my God-given purpose over comfort and security, maybe of paying rent and food, I know it will pay off. I know it will pay off. I have no doubt in my mind. If I can get at least one of you today to ask God to help you align to your purpose, then that would make me be fulfilled. That would make me happy. That at least one person will reconsider living a purpose-led life or a purposeful life than just succumbing to survival mode. God can sustain you, but beyond sustaining you, God can make you thrive and have impact to generations, so that we have the younger generations that are coming after us having people who they can model their lives after. Okay? We need to play our part. Otherwise, we'll have a generation that does not know who to follow, and that's why you see some of these Gen Zs are just doing their own things. Because when they look for role models in society, we are seeing men wearing dresses for content creation. How absurd is that? It's because those who were supposed to step up and become role models have chosen to remain in survival mode. You have chosen to just be there. You have abandoned your purpose. You have abandoned your passion. You have abandoned what God called you to do. You have abandoned your places in society. So this is a wake-up call to all millennials. If you still feel you have something to give to the world, then do so. Do so. It's never too late. It's never too late with God. It's never too late to make amends. We can all make this country better, but it needs to start with our own individual input. Just believe in yourself that bit more, that 1% more. And you don't need to start with a grand, just start with one step. That one step is enough to bring the momentum that is needed for change to be seen in your life. Okay? So that is where I think I will end my video today. I honestly pray that this video will actually impact someone out there. I am very saddened. I am very, it's not something that I sit here and talk with pride, because I know my fellow millennials. I went to school with some of the people, and I know the dreams that they had. I know how bright their visions were. I know how ambitious they were. But I have seen how disappointment in life can destroy people. I have seen how hopelessness can shatter a man's and a woman's heart. I have seen how society has broken down the generation of millennials that we have. And so I know this is not an easy video to put out there, because there are so many hopeless souls that have been broken by false promises and a ruthless world and just manipulation in relationships, people who have been used and dumped. Life has just been very hard on millennials, and I sympathize because I am part of them, and I know how much it pains. So this is one video that I speak with a heavy heart, but I pray that someone out there gets to listen to this video and it makes a change in your life. That's it from me today. I pray that may you like, share and subscribe this content, and I will see you for my next video. God bless you. Cheers.